Today's devotional is entitled Pleading to God. We have all been there waiting for some good news, waiting for our team to win the game or waiting for the doctor to come out of surgery to tell us that everything went well. And in the blink of an eye, good news is replaced with devastating news. A lost job, the team losing the star player and losing the big game, a loved one who doesn't make it out of their routine surgery. And the feeling of hopelessness hits hard and you start to spiral. All you wanted was some good news. All you wanted was just a win. Life has just been kicking you down so hard. Why can't you just get this little win? Life has just been so difficult that all you wanted was just some good news to brighten the mood. And that we don't get stuck in those valleys, but we're able to scale the mountains to get back up on top. That all we seem to do is be a magnet for bad news, and bad things just seem to happen to us no matter what we do. And no matter how hard we try, we feel like we can't get out of those valleys. You see, even throughout the Bible, we see people that make decisions that aren't the best, causing them to also get stuck and spiral. Cain killing Abel, Moses killing the Egyptian, Mary Magdalene being possessed by demons and hiding from the people, Judas even betraying Jesus, Saul's zest and desire to kill the followers of Christ, and kill as many as he possibly can. And see, these are just a few of the people in the Bible that seem to be shaped by the situations around them, that they could see both sides of this situation, the light and the dark, or the valley and the mountaintop, only to plunge deeper into darkness. But in seeing 2 Corinthians chapters 11 and 12, we see Paul boasting about the sufferings that he has endured, the same sufferings that he had put the followers of Christ through before his conversion. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 24 through 29, Paul gives a description of the many things that he's had to suffer and endure. He says, 5 times I received at the hands of the Jews the 40 lashes less 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I was adrift at sea, on frequent journeys and in danger from rivers, danger from robbers, dangers from my own people, danger from the Gentiles. In toil and hardship through many a sleepless night, in hunger and thirst, often without food and cold and exposure. And apart from all the other things, there is a daily pressure of my anxiety for all of the churches. Who is weak? And I am not weak. Who is made to fall? And am I not indignant? Holy cow. Hearing this, I know that if I was in his shoes, I would have stopped after the first beating, after that first lashing. But he continued to push through. He continued to push through these moments that were so much down deep in the valleys and these hardships that just seemed to pile up on him. The lashes that Paul received here were the same lashes that Jesus Christ received on the crucifixion. 39 lashes, because they considered 40 to be, that would kill a man. But see, Jesus received it once. Paul received it an additional 4 more times. And see, these moments were made to break Paul, to even kill Paul, and yet he continued. Through the toils, through the hardships, through all of the things that were going on in his life, he still pushed through. But see, Paul didn't just go through these things with the mindset of, oh well, these things happen. Because he did plead and pray to God. He argued with God to take these away. And you see in 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7 through 10, Paul says, so to keep me from being conceited, because of the surpassing greatness of the revelations, a thorn was given me in the flesh, a messenger of Satan to harass me, to keep me from being conceited. 3 times I pleaded with the Lord about this, that it should leave me. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. You see, Paul here has had much wisdom about what to do when life just wants to keep kicking us down. And Paul shows us that the grace of God for you is available to you no matter the situation or season of your life. That in the hardships of this life, God is bigger than all of those situations. Even if you're facing a life or death situation, God is still there with you. Now, He might not take away those beatings, the tongue lashings that we may receive, the car that breaks down at the worst time, a lost job, a family member that succumbs to cancer that should easily beat. God is bigger than all of these situations. And when we get stuck in these times, we kind of lose sight of that. And the one that can help us through those, that we tend to try to wrestle with these situations on our own, but not giving them over to the Lord. You see, this life wants to break you when you decide to follow God. That this world wants you to forget the one who can help you through the darkness that this world has. We see in Isaiah 43 verses 1 and 2 that God is still with us. But now, thus says the Lord, He who created you, O Jacob, He who formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you. I have called you by name, and you are mine. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and through the rivers they shall not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you shall not be burned, and the flame shall not consume you. You know, here, this passage, God says that when you go through these hardships, God is still with you no matter what. So you're going to go through floods, you're going to go through fires, you're going to go through all sorts of toils and tribulations and hardships in life. He is still with you. You know, it's easy to think about our lives and look at our lives from the perspective and microscope that we have of ourselves. To look down just at the things that we're able to see and be like, you know what? I'm going through all this stuff. Why am I dealing with these things when somebody that's just like me is not suffering? Why am I going through all of these times when I am literally doing all the right things? And it's easy to get discouraged, to get upset, and just as easy to lose our faith in these moments. And see, these are the times, though, that shape us, to form our faith, to allow us to grow closer to the Father. Because see, in Psalms 23 verse 4, it says, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Each one of us are going to go through situations that are going to cause us to question, why is this happening to me? Why, when I'm such a good person, am I dealing with broken cars and broken jobs and broken families and sickness and all of these horrible things? But allows us to get closer to the Father, allows us to lean more into His understanding and His faith and His comfort and care, to rely more on His grace and His mercy. It allows us to keep our eyes on the Lord. His strength and power is made perfect in us in our weakness. And that no matter what we're going through, God is there beside us. Just like Paul says back in 2 Corinthians, therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weakness, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. That is our devotional for today. Pleading to God.